Hi, it's Laura here for Lunchtime with Laura. So, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for being a part of Dog Food Demystified. I hope that you're finding it a really useful place to come to get your questions answered and to learn more about your dog's food and nutrition. As always, if there are any particular topics or questions that you'd like to have answered, then do send them across. Either I'll answer them directly, they can feature in a future Lunchtime with Laura, or we can include it as a topic and a focus for one of the weeks in future to provide some more information and answers around it. So, yes, please do let me know what you're struggling with and what you'd like to see from me. So, today I have a couple of questions to answer in line with this week's topic, which is food diaries. So, the questions that I have been asked are what detail to include in the food diaries and what I use each of these details for. So, before we get started, I'll just do a little introduction to rewarding pet nutrition. So, for those of you who don't know, rewarding pet nutrition is my business. I'm Laura and I'm a pet nutritionist. So, I set up rewarding pet nutrition as I was finding throughout my studies and my career how pet owners generally were finding feeding their pets so confusing. Um, from what to feed them to how much, and it's not surprising because there is so much contradictory information and differences of opinion within the pet nutrition space. And so I wanted to be the person to demystify dog food, to really provide some clarity and remove the stress of trying to find these answers. So that is why Rewarding Pet Nutrition is here. I work with dog owners as well as dog businesses, and I work on a range of different options, whether that is one to one, whether it's through my Podgy Pooches program, the webinar. There's lots of different options. So if you think it's something which could benefit you, then please do book a pet parent problem solving session. So these are just quick, free calls with me to have a chat through what's going on with you and your dog and see if it's something that I might be able to help with. So do get in touch if that's something which is of interest. So, our questions to answer today. So, the first question I have to answer is what details should you go into when you're completing a food diary? So, the easy answer is just as much detail. I want to know everything. So, that can include supplements, that can include drinks, that's their main food, their treats. If they have scavenged anything, if your children have fed them something, if they've had the corner off your toast, if you gave them, I don't know, a yogurt pot to lick the contents of when you'd finished. Just as much information as possible. So that just means that when I am reviewing these food diaries and looking for any connections for what you've told me you're struggling with or any any correlations, it really gives me all of the information. So it might be that if you only fill in their main foods and their dog treats, that there is something un, like on the outskirts what of their diet. So that could be that I don't know, they go and steal food from your neighbour's garden that they'd left out for the hedgehogs. It could be that you'd had a barbecue and they went through the bin. They might, I don't know, your children might share crisps with them. Like, there's so many different things which on their own might seem inconsequential, but um, it's it's useful to jot everything down so that either me or whoever is looking for trends or things of interest within the food diary has all of the information. This way we can notice either if it's something to do with, say, their weight, how things might add up. So remember that just tiny little things throughout the day and week can add up to have a big impact on their total diet. Um, but also with their total diet or their supplements, we can also see about their dietary balance and what nutrition is being provided from where and how these different elements will interact. So, yes, essentially, we want to know everything, and the more detail that you can provide, the better. And in terms of the next question we've been asked is, what I use all of this information for. So it can depend on why we are reviewing the diet, what pet parent problem you have that has caused us to review their whole diet. But essentially, we're looking at their their main meal to see how that is suiting them and any features of that which might be linked to whatever problem that we're seeing. We're then looking at the treats and the balance of the treats and the main meal. So whether that is meeting that 10% maximum or if we are diluting the vitamins and minerals and nutrients from their main meal by providing too many treats and in that way knocking their diet out of balance. Might be looking for options to provide things like supplements in order to act upon a particular feature or health concern that you might be looking at. So, for instance, if we're looking at a more elderly dog with a joint stiffness, you might already be feeding a joint supplement, but if it isn't on the food diary and it hasn't been mentioned, then I might still suggest that you feed one because I don't know. I don't know that it's already being done. Um, so it's any feature of their complete diet, any little tidbits, anything that they have can all have a big impact. So, for instance, it's it's no good if I say they need to have a complete diet change because something in there might be causing whatever you're seeing. If in actual fact it's from something, say your your children shared their lunch with them or they've been through the bin, because although you might not be able to say exactly what they've had, it's worth knowing that there are those extra additions into their diet that I can then take into account. So it might be that their actual the core of their diet is sound and it's something they've taken from somewhere else which has caused upsets. So yeah, that's why we need all of those details. Um and things like drinks. If your dog has had something to drink which isn't water, whether it's a dog drink or they have, I don't know, they've had a dog drink, they might have had some kind of bone broth, you might have made something, I don't know, you've poached liver to put that water on their food. to help the palatability. And if it's palatability that we're looking at, or your dog doesn't want their food, then that's information which is beneficial for me during that investigation and review of their diet. So yeah, please give as much information as you can, even if it's a food diary that you're filling in just for either your vet or for your own benefit to monitor some kind of transition or something that you've noticed in your dog and you're keeping an eye on it in conjunction with their food, then yeah, the more information that you put on there, the more information that you then have at your disposal when you're looking for connections and trends and linking things that are linking in there so that we can then form those choices of what action to take next. So I hope that that clears things up. In regards to food diaries, they're such a useful tool. So whether it's for weight loss, whether you want to monitor your dog's diet and every avenue that they are receiving extra food because you're really monitoring their weight and trying to bring them back to their ideal weight, and you're noticing that their core diet is fine but they're getting additions from somewhere else. It might be that you've noticed sensitivities or itching and you're trying to pinpoint where it's coming from. There are so many different uses of a food diary. So using it in a properly, in like a really objective way is important. So, I mean, I've seen food diaries where I'm looking at a dog who is carrying excess weight, and the foods which are listed on their food diary don't even meet their kind of base daily requirements. So I know that there's extra food, but I don't know where it's coming from. So it's really it's really important just to be really detailed with the food diary. Whoever it's for, whoever's reviewing it, the the more detail, the better. And I know it can be quite laborious to keep track of and make note of each of those things you feed every time you feed them to make a note. But even if you just make a mental note and write it all down, it's really useful. So that's my advice, is to have all of that detail on there, and it's better to have details that aren't required than required details that aren't there. So yes, thank you for that. And if anybody else has any questions that you'd like me to answer, then do send them across. I always love to see your questions, or if you have any other comments or feedback, then please do send it over to me. Like I said, we can include those questions in future Lunchtime with Laura's, or they can form the base of a weekly focus. So yes, please do message me with any thoughts that you have. Um, Please also do invite all of your dog friends and family over to join us in Dog Food Demystified. We are wanting to improve the health of dogs and the understanding of their humans, really remove the stress and worry around dog nutrition for a lot of dog owners. So the more people that can join us here, the better. So please do carry on inviting all of your dog friends and family, dog owners that you meet in the park. That'd be fantastic. And we still do have that competition running to win a dog enrichment bundle. So once we have some more people invited over, I will be I'll be drawing the winners for that. So do remember to invite over your dog friends and family, please. That'd be fantastic. We'll grow this dog food demystified community. And thank you very much for listening. It's been great to have you here, and I hope that you're finding Dog Food Demystified really useful in understanding more about your dog's food and nutrition. So I'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Bye.